Okay, hello, welcome everyone. We're going to give folks a minute or two to trickle into the room here. So stay tight for just a second, hang tight, and we'll get started in just a minute. See folks coming in. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Folks joining from all over the country to talk about family and children safety over the internet, cyber safety for kids and families. This is a topic that Cowbell cares deeply about. It's a topic that Wizer cares deeply about. And this is why we are initiating this monthly webinar series to bring to you kind of real life topics from day-to-day things that come up in all of our lives, and sort of giving you practical tools to use so that you can be aware and be cyber smart as you move through the world. Going to introduce our special guest here in just a second. I'm going to give a few more folks a minute to join. And we will be recording this session, so it will be live streaming from our website. I imagine that Wizer might have some webinars on their website as well. So in case you miss this or certain parts of it, or you have friends or family that you think would benefit from this information, then rest assured you will be able to find it after today's recording. And since it's a few minutes past the hour, Gabi, I think that we should go ahead and just get started.
Okay.
All right. So welcome, everyone. As I said, this is our second ever monthly webinar series between Wizer and Cowbell. Our goal here today is to share topics that are relevant to real life. So how do we keep ourselves, our families, our children safe online as more of our world moves to a digital surface? We have to be mindful, we have to be aware, we have to understand what kinds of threats and things are out there so that we can avoid scams and fraud. And for this month, we're exploring specifically holiday shopping. This is, we're a few weeks out from the holidays. What do we need to be aware of as we are doing a lot of online shopping in the way of scams and fraud? And so I'm extremely honored to present my good friend, Gabriel Friedlander. He's the CEO and founder of Wizer. He has been in the security space for years and years and has designed products that have now been adopted by name brand cyber companies. Gabriel, thank you so much for being here and welcome. Yeah, I'll turn it over to you to kick us off.
Thank you very much. This is a special one. I really enjoy doing the more family edition because it applies to everyone. And what I'm going to show today is I'm going to focus mostly on online shopping, and I will show you the things that I do before I buy online. I'll do some demos. We'll take some websites. We'll figure out what do we, would we shop there or not, and share with you a little bit of statistics of what's going on, and talk about some advanced stuff that is coming in terms of the scam world, because it's also advancing with all this, AI stuff. Things are becoming harder to spot. So we're going to also touch a little bit of that.
Gabriel, before you start, I actually just want to say to the audience, we try to make this as interactive and as fun as possible. Really, these sessions are only as helpful to you as you're willing to participate in them. So we're actually going to kick this off real quick with a polling question. Abimbola is going to help us out with this for a second. So question number one, you have been scammed, or you know someone who has been scammed? True or false? We want to get a sense from our audience here of who has maybe experienced something like this, or has firsthand is firsthand aware of this happening to someone that they care about. Let's see if we'll give folks a second to fill that out, and we'll get those answers here in just a second. Wimbledon, do we have some answers? Here they come. Ooh, wow. All right, so 5 folks are voting and all of them have been scammed or know somebody who has been scammed. So Gabrielle, this gives you some good data here to move forward into this conversation with. And actually, I'm going to ask one more question, excuse me, before we start, just so we have a sense of, you know, how we're feeling today in terms of knowledge base in this area. So second question here is, how confident do you feel when you're looking at a website or when you're looking at an online e-commerce space? How confident do you feel that you're spotting something that's fake or scandalous online? Are you very confident? Are you a little bit confident, or not very confident at all? Give folks a second there as well. This is where we need to start cueing the Jeopardy music from now on. Okay, interesting. All right, so a little bit of both, a little confidence, and then some highly confident folks out there. That's great. Love that we don't have anyone who is not very confident at all. So good data to go into the presentation with. Gabi, I'll let you continue from here.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start with, what does it take to avoid being scammed? And this is a follow-up actually to the poll that we just had. What I found interesting, so this is from the BBB Scam Tracker. I have about 2 slides from them. And what I really found interesting is that people who avoided being scammed, it wasn't usually technology or someone else who told them about it. It was some kind of awareness. So they either felt something, knew something, did some research, had experience, or checked. So you can see all of those things basically come down to awareness. And this is the reason why we're doing this today, because to be honest, like, I don't like having false sense of security and thinking that my antivirus or anything else will, you know, protect me. It is good to have, it helps, but it comes down to at least thinking about it. That's why they say think before you click. But it comes a long way in terms of avoiding being scammed. It's just like being aware. So this is the reason why we're doing this today. And we're going to give you a little bit more knowledge today that will allow you to be better at identifying those and some best practices. Okay, so do you want to try this?
Yes. So before we start answering this question, our third polling question of the day. Here, what do you think are the top reported products used to perpetuate online purchase scams? What's your best guess? Footwear, clothing, pet or pet supplies, or home decorations? Which product is the most commonly used product to perpetuate online fraud and scams? Give you 5 seconds there to vote. All right, a pretty even distribution between footwear, clothing, and pet supplies.
Okay, so let's reveal it. I was actually surprised, to be honest. Okay, at number 3, we have motor vehicles. There is actually a lot since the COVID, people have started to buy, especially second used cars online. So this is a huge market. And what's really special about this type of scam that people don't usually pay with credit card. There's like an escrow or something where you move the money in order to get the car, but those escrows are being set up by criminals. So people are losing a lot of money around motor vehicles, and just the second use cars and the COVID accelerated that quite a lot. So be careful there when you're buying a car, especially if you're doing it online. Number 2, digital devices, which is sort of expected, I think. But at number 1, it was actually pets. And especially during the holidays, and I think COVID also helped there. And it also hurts a lot, when you see the pet that you want to get and it's like a double type of scam, emotionally and financially, especially when you were looking forward, or your kids were looking forward for that specific, dog, cat, whatever it is. Yeah, it's a hard one. So, and unfortunately, you can see these scammers don't have mercy, and they don't discriminate. They will just hit wherever they can to grab that, that money. Okay. By the way, I can't see the questions. So if there are, Jessica, if you can let me know if people are asking anything, just,
Absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely. And nothing yet, but folks,
okay.
please feel free to type in a question into the chat. We'll make sure that your questions are answered.
So, two more slides and then we'll dive in and we'll sort of examine a few sites and we'll see if they are scam or not. I'll just give you some cool best practices that I at least use. But the scams are, it all starts before the purchase, during the purchase, and after the purchase. It doesn't end when you purchase. I'll show you later what happens after you purchase. It just doesn't end, unfortunately. So the leading start to a scam is social media, which on the one hand, it sounds obvious because we're on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things. But when you think about it, what does it mean? It means it can be an influencer that you thought is trustworthy. And by the way, they may be trustworthy, but they're getting paid sometimes by fake sponsors to promote a product, which is a scam. So it's not always the case where it's their products. And sometimes some of those influencers, sometimes they also have some scam product, but that's another thing. But think about like the posts, the comments where people leave comments. Oh, I got this for this. So that's where it starts. It starts from those discussions whether you search for something, it came up, and also ads, like huge. So many scams happen because of an ad on social media. They just can't. Google, Facebook, all of those platforms can't identify, I would say, a lot of those ads. They are actually getting through. I think last year about 3 billion ads were removed by Google, something like that. Like just think about those that didn't get removed, and what happened during the time that those ads were up. How many people got scammed because of that? So it's basically the fact that you were not searching for something and it came up doesn't mean that it's okay. So be careful there. And just to give you an example of the amount of money that was lost just in social media, we're talking about like almost $1 billion of losses last year. And it's going up. So it went up from like 258 to 7. Probably this year is going to be in the more than $1 billion. And these are things that have just been reported. Just, imagine how many have not been reported. Probably way more. So now what I want to do, I want to show you some tricks that I do in order to figure out if something is a scam or not. So I took just an example of a site. Now, keep in mind that the things that I'm showing you don't mean for sure this is a scam. This is red flags that I use, which I usually avoid when I see that. But I'll also give you some of the reasons why it may not be a scam. So, but the more red flags there are, I would say it's less likely that I will purchase from that website if they start to pile up all of those signs. So the first thing that I do, I usually go to the About Us section. I'll show you why. Now, here is what happens with a lot of these scammers. People report their websites, right? So they get up, they launch them, and they close them. They launch them and they close them, and they just have so many of them. So they use templates just because they need to like streamline their process. They're a business as well. If you think about it, those scammers come to work every day. It's organized crime, guys. This is not just a random person at home, doing this. It's organized crime. They have streamlined the process. They have templates. So when you know that, one of the things you can do is just, I'll take a part of this About Us. I'll copy this. I'll just paste it here.
Hmm.
And okay, there's like 1,400 websites. You can see different ones with the same about us. Okay. Again, a lot of people will say, look, this is, people use templates when they set up shops, which is also okay. So it's not necessarily spam, but I would expect for like a shop that has like a founder or something to like talk about themselves and to sort of like tell their story, not a copy paste. It doesn't make me feel good when I visit a shop, which is a copy paste of like another shop and another shop. Just doesn't feel good, at least, from my point of view. So if we go back to this one, another thing that I would probably do, I'll take this website and I will go to, I can look up, there's others, you can just type in who is, so you can use different sites. There's another one here, domain lookup. So what this does, let me put it in here. I'll just look at the age, hold on, at the age of this domain, like how long ago was it created? There's a lot of technical things here, but it was created like earlier this year. So we're talking about a brand new copy paste shop from China in this case. The register, you can, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can probably figure it out, okay, it's from Alibaba. Alibaba is not the Alibaba shop. They are like, they have their, it's like Amazon, they have their own hosting. So it's hosted on Alibaba. It doesn't mean Alibaba, the actual store. So we can see, and you can dig in here a little bit. There's privacy, so you can't tell who owns it. So this is, for me, it's like number 2 is, it was just created. Even a year ago is not good enough. I would say like, I would probably buy from a shop that is at least several years ago. Some of those guys, what they do is they buy domains, so the domain can be created even longer, but they don't activate them. But in this case, it was just created and it was updated just now. So again, this looks technical, but it's not really. You can just easily figure that out, that it's when it was created, when it was updated, and so forth. Another tell that I usually do, I will go to the contact us. Let's see, where is it? If they have any, contact us. So this is a Gmail, right? Like, come on, like I'm buying like, like if you don't, again, a little bit of awareness, it was created recently. It's from China, but not everything from China obviously is, I don't want to say that, but at least be aware of that. It has a Gmail email for support, and it's a copy paste. So I would give it a pass.
Lots of red flags adding up for sure here.
Yeah, it's all about exactly what you said. It's all about adding up. It's each one of them is independently may not mean a lot, because there's a lot of valid websites in China. There's a lot of valid websites that have been recently launched, but it starts just to add up and add up and add up. Another thing that I would probably do is I will take this domain or product sometimes, and I will just type in, let's say, fraud or scam. Oh, there's a scam detector, former mobile industry. No, it has to include this. I'm just doing this in real like time. I haven't seen.
Gabi, I have a question for you. I mean, a lot of folks will be scrolling on Instagram, and I'm guilty of this myself. I'll be scrolling on Instagram, something, some sort of product pops up that looks really interesting, and I'm watching a video of it, and I'm like, oh, this looks super cool. And I'll just click on it from my phone rather than going to my laptop and doing this research from my laptop. Is there anything, do you think that I should just take a moment and actually go to my laptop, or are there tricks that I can
from your phone? Yeah, you can, I think you can open it from the phone. I also do that, from time to time, but from your phone, you can just open it in a browser. First of all, go to see if they're actual, if they have a domain. Like many of them have a page on Facebook, so they don't actually even have their own domain. And you want to look at when was this profile created, this Facebook profile, when was it created? Very similar to what we're doing now. You can click on the profile and see when it was created. There's information on Facebook or Instagram, on all of those social media accounts, but I would open it in a browser for multiple reasons. And by the way, this is a good question you asked, because it's on top of, like, with regardless to shopping. When you use what we call the in-browser is, when you don't go out of Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, when you're staying in it, they have their own browser and you go in. So let's say you're using TikTok and you are clicking on a link and it opens it in the TikTok browser, and now you sign into your Google or whatever account. I don't feel comfortable using the TikTok browser because I'm still in TikTok. So I'm basically potentially, again, I don't know if they're doing it, but potentially, because it's their browser, it's the TikTok browser, it's not Safari or Chrome, potentially they can be capturing my password, my username and password. So I don't like logging in from any social media browser, what we call the in-app browser. I always open it up in a different browser. And then, I make sure, again, the domain is correct. And then I do some research. But it's not that, when you buy from a random website on on Instagram or Facebook, it's like buying from a random person on the street. Like, just think about it like that. You don't know anything about them. They're just there soliciting you, telling you, hey, do you want to buy my merchandise? Like, who are you? You came out of the blue. Like, just remember that Facebook, Instagram, they do just an okay job at the best in protecting you. And they have sometimes different agendas. They still want those ads. They're trying, so they're balancing. I wouldn't trust them to do my due diligence. Okay. So I think this is a great question. And that's the reason I put fraud or scam and stuff like that, is because if I'm going to put if I'm just going to do a research and I'm going to put just the name, then it's going to be about them, like things, because it's optimized for them. They're not going to put their name plus scam. They're not going to optimize for that usually. So I'm looking at usually things. That's what I do. I add the product, scam, fraud, and then I go down and I search. Another thing that I would probably do is go to Reddit or Quora if it's like I'm doing a big purchase or something, and I'm going to also look there. Did anybody say anything about them? Again, it doesn't take too much. Like, I'm doing more now, probably than many people would do, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's like 3-4 steps,
Absolutely.
Look at Quora and Reddit if anybody said anything. The fact that nobody knows about them, they're so new. This website is so new that nobody even knows about it yet. And any one of them that we will try will probably be the same. Like, try another one. And this looks like from the US. Another thing, by the way, that I do is I take this, I go to Google Maps, and I search, let's see where their headquarters are. Somewhere in where is it even? Yeah. Planet's Fitness. Sometimes there's images and you can see that it's a sketchy building or something like that, or it's just a random place.
Right.
Like a random, yeah. So this is the type of stuff that I would look for.
Interesting.
Okay. So yeah, and if we do this again, we take this page, we go back to this, we'll see when was it created. Yeah. So this was created a long time ago, relatively, but it was just updated just now. Especially, I guess, for the holidays. So this is, yeah, this is some of the things I do. Any questions, guys? Again, these are all red flags. It doesn't mean necessarily that, you know, these ones are scams. It's just like things that you want to look for. And then you have apps like, I think, Scam Advisors. There's some web, oh, the BBB, that's, you know, that's a place where you can look for the business name and you can see if anybody had any issues with it. So the Better Business Bureau, I would definitely look for that. By the way, also for local businesses and stuff like that, it's a great place where you can read if anybody reported a scam or anything that this business was involved in. And you can also report a scam here. And this is where we got this reports from that I showed you. So a lot of people use this to either find or report scams. So if you were scammed, you know, I would definitely go and report a scam here. I think it's a great, just help others as well. And you can also look up for a scam.
Awesome. Taking notes.
Okay. So let's go back to our presentation. This is the type of stuff that I was basically talking about. But I do want, actually I jumped one, this was here. Okay, but I do want to talk about this for a second because I think I missed one thing that is actually interesting here. So, will my bank reimburse me? One of the things that I've seen recently, and this is, you know, sometimes you can hide in plain sight. So how do you do that? What some of the scammers do, they set up merchants. You know, you can sign up for a new like business and with a fake identity and all of those things. You can set up a business online today, and you use a merchant name that is similar, for example, to a known business like Netflix. Okay. So now just imagine you're looking at your statement and you see $14.99 NTFLX, you know, like you assume that it's Netflix. It matches that amount that you're expecting and you keep on scrolling. You don't see it. So you may have recurring charges that you may never, like it can take you a year or more sometimes just to figure them out unless you like look for duplicates. But it could be a lot of small recurring charges on your card. And those things, I think, will be very hard to spot later. So you don't want to be, you don't want your credit card to be stolen, even if the bank reimburses you, because there's a lot of small charges that you may never realize that are being stolen from you. Some other reasons is, and that's another one, that's another hard one to dispute, is that you get a totally different product. So then it's like a dispute with the vendor, right? It's not like your money was stolen. You don't think you got the product that you wanted. So you may not get reimbursed. It's going to be hard because they did send you something. You paid for like $1,000 dress or whatever, and you got a costume from, you know, a Halloween store for like $50 that looks like this amazing dress. Yes. You know, now you can say, hey, you know, you got it, you know, they shipped it, go. And this, from my point of view, this is totally a scam. You lost money, right? You're expecting one thing, you got something else. So that's another reason. They can steal your identity and private information because you're putting in your address, your email. You don't want to put all of that information out there. So because they can build up enough information about you to use that in a different scam later. Like calling AT&T or whatever, and now they have your birthday, they know, you know, your street address, a lot of stuff. They can start building up information about you, and eventually they can steal your identity and some other stuff. So it all starts with small things that we don't pay attention to, but they're collecting that information and eventually using it against us. And they can also, if you use, like, if you log into those websites with a social login, they may be able to steal your actual, like, fish you, you know, steal your information. So And I definitely wouldn't like reuse passwords like on those websites. They tell you to sign up and you're reusing a password that you have, you can be like locked out from your Gmail tomorrow.
Yep.
So,
Password
yeah.
manager tool would be helpful there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So even if it's a website that you're not going to use again, don't reuse a password, please. In general, don't you reuse passwords. Just not a good habit. Okay. So we spoke about this quickly, some of the things we're doing. 7 more quick tips. Don't trust a slick video. You know, if the video looks amazing and the website looks like, you know, on point, they may just have stolen this ad or whatever from the original website. So don't be lured just because they have a professional looking video that seems legit. Of course it's legit. They stole it from the original website. Obviously, if the price is too good, it probably is. We talked about Facebook. Another small thing that I've seen happening is when you keep on seeing that ad and the price is dropping and dropping and dropping, that's usually a scam. You know, they're trying to lure you in. You know, you saw it at a one price. Now you come back, you know, an hour later, the price dropped and then it's dropped even more and even more. These are usually signs, you know, this is a scam. They don't care. They can drop it as much as they want, right? They don't actually sell the product. If you have a lot of reviews from the same day, usually they just go in, you know, put a lot of reviews, fake reviews. That's another one. Or you have all type of products you saw on TV that they don't have a site, like a Kickstarter or something from Shark Tank, and you know, they show up on Facebook, the product you saw on Shark Tank, and you think, oh, this is the actual product. They take that video, put it out there. You're clicking, you didn't pay attention to where the website of the official product is, and then you get scammed. So don't get excited that you saw it on TV and then it pops up on your social media and then click on it and then you get scammed. Okay. So just do your research. It all comes down to awareness. Let's talk about after the purchase, because it doesn't end there. So if you talk about it on social media, expect a follow-up scam. 2 very common follow-up scams. One, you know, delivery issues, right? Like we've seen that many times, but what happens is when you're expecting something to come and then you get this text message, it adds up and you feel that it's real, because how would they know, right? Like, how would they know? But sometimes they're just sending a lot of them and it just matches that expected delivery date that you have. And you're doing 1 + 1 and you're thinking, oh, I was expecting this. Now there's an issue with it. I'm going to click and I'm going to check. And then again, you give your information, you sign up, whatever, and you get scammed. So be careful with that. What I usually do, I go to the actual email, look at the order number, the shipping, tracking shipping, and then I go to USPS or whatever, and I put that. I don't start clicking on, even if I get a notification on my phone, I still go to the actual FedEx or whatever, and I plug in the number. That's what I do. I don't like clicking on links so much. And then you have customer support follow-ups. So if you didn't get what you wanted, or you got this Halloween costume instead of that, you know, amazing dress, and you complain about it online, there will be scammers that will follow up and try to help you. That happens, you know. They will try to help you. They will be either from that company's customer support, they will be from any kind of bureau trying to help you. So just be very, very cautious, because when you complain online, you're emotionally distressed, and that's probably the best time to approach you, because now you have somebody to help you. And that happens a lot, you know, like if it's bigger scams, you can have attorneys help you and stuff like that. And then they're trying to help you recover money. It's called money recovery scams, that they try to help you recover the money and then you get scammed again. Like, it just happens, guys. So unfortunately, this is the type of stuff we need to deal with. So it's all about being aware of this type of stuff and doing that a bit of research that we've done before.
I would imagine also the delivery issue scams, we just see such an uptick of those over the holidays because there is so much sending of gifts and so much shipping. You know, the quantity of shipping is so high during this time that, you know, you're expecting packages or you just sent a package. And so you just, you just assume that it's legit. We're all in a
Yeah.
hurry. We're all doing 10 things at once. And oftentimes just out of convenience, we see something and we're like, oh gosh, that package isn't arriving on time. Let me click to see what happened. And then bam. So just
It's
taking a
mixed
second to look
reality.
up.
That's the thing. You read about it on the news, for example. I had a friend that, I talked to him about this type of scam. So he's aware. And he told me, like, Gabby, like, I was almost scammed. Here was what happened. So he said, I was driving and I heard on the radio about how drugs are being sent over just mail, and drug enforcement are in the border controls are finding, packages with drugs. Like, it's crazy. And like a week later, he's getting a call from the border control that, there was a shipment to his name, his address, and they found drugs inside. And, like that mixed reality where he heard about it on the news and then it happened to him. He told me, look, eventually I figured it out, but my heart was racing. Like, I was taking notes and stuff because, give me the address. He said, but this is not my address. This is my address. Like, he started giving up information and he was almost like blinded by the emotions. So don't let those things, we saw that in COVID as well, where, different things are happening and then it's happening to you. Like, reality is that it usually won't happen to you. Like, the fact that you read about it on the news doesn't mean that it's, because those scammers are listening to the news as well, right? And we see that also with scams like, mass layoffs. So people are now getting, termination emails, and they're like, oh, it's happening in our company. They're firing everyone over the weekend. No, it's not,
Yeah.
So goes back to that. I'm expecting one thing to happen and then it happens. That's sort of the magic. And even if we are aware, it does make us, afraid.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about offline shopping. This is actually, there's a lot of things going on there, but gift cards is obviously a huge one. And this is smart. This is what they do. So, and maybe people I don't think are aware of this. So, a lot of the cards that you're buying from the rec are empty. You're going, at the register, you're telling them, fill it up with $100, fill it up with $50. They're just empty cards. That's what they are. So they have no dollar amount to them. The dollar amount is loaded at the register. So here's what scammers do. They either buy an empty one and then they go home, or they create new barcodes and they start printing the barcodes of that empty one that they have. They're printing all the barcodes, and then they find a way in the store to put their the one that they have, their barcode, they put their sticker on top of the actual sticker. So now when you go with that gift card, you go to the register and they scan it and you load it with $100, that $100 is going to the scammer, not to you, because the barcode they're scanning is not your barcode. It's not the one you purchased. It's the one the scammer has. So one thing you want to do is, just try to feel, because it's printed, as you can see on the actual barcode, it's printed. So just like feel if there's a sticker on top of this barcode. That's like an easy way. If you can peel it, then it's 100% a scam. It's not even questionable. It's somebody put a sticker on a sticker, a barcode on a barcode. Okay, because when you activate it, you put a number, you don't put a barcode. So the barcode, it doesn't match the number of your card. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. It's a little bit complicated sometimes to explain, but at the end of the day, you're basically loading someone else's gift card, and they can probably duplicate it and get a lot of money like that. They're putting it on all the gift cards, and it may even be a totally, like, you may be buying a Toys R Us and you're going to load it into an Amazon gift card.
Wow.
Okay, so some store registers, because it's so common, they will alert you of that. But I wouldn't rely on that. Just rub your finger across this barcode and figure out if it's a legit one or not.
Such a great idea.
Yeah. Okay, so a few minimum things that I think are important to do, and that's not just for shopping, that's in general. Let's start with, a strong password is just like a long, so instead of like random, letters that you won't remember, what I usually love to do is just use random words and make a phrase out of them. Like, this webinar was amazing. That can be a password. That's it. It's a long password. This webinar was amazing is it's a lot of characters. And if you add a number, or if you add a special character, you're over 12 characters and you have a strong password. So it doesn't have to be like a random thing. Even though a random thing, as long as it's long is better. That's the key thing here. Over 12. That's what I would advise, over 12. If you can't remember them and you want an easy way, use a password manager. It will create passwords for you, and it will remember them for you, and it will auto fill them in. You may say, what happens if somebody breaks into my password manager? You're absolutely correct. So you have to have a long password for that one, a strong one, and enable multi-factor authentication. Some people are using notebooks and they write it down at home and they put it in a safe place, which is also probably better than reusing passwords. So if you don't have people coming in your house all the time, and you don't carry it with you outdoors, and you keep it in a safe place, and you put the passwords there, you can also omit maybe 2-3 characters that so the password is like a hint. That can be another way. Probably the second most important thing is enable multi-factor authentication. So if they do, because it doesn't matter, even if your password is really, really strong, if a website was hacked, and like we're talking all the major websites were hacked, probably, like just name a website was hacked, like Facebook, like all of them were hacked. So if they steal your password, your very, very strong password, and you don't have multi-factor authentication turned on, then they're in. So turn that on. These are probably the two things that will make you way more secure than 90% of the people out there, because a lot of people don't do those two things. So just those two things are putting you way ahead of other people, which will, from a return on investment, if I'm a criminal, I'll just move on. If I really want to get to you, I'll get to you, but I'll move on to someone else probably. Number 3 is update your phone and computer. There's auto updates, and also your browser. Usually there's like green, it says, update me. So just look at that, click on the update your Chrome or your Safari, whatever you're using, and also have auto updates run on your computer and on your phone. It's always good to do that. I say have a backup. I think, just if you have things that are important for you on your cloud, is not necessarily a backup, your synced cloud, because if somebody breaks into your computer, then they have access to your cloud, right? It's only synced. It's not really backed up. So have a backup offline. So if somebody does break into your computer, you always have like an offline backup. Just external hard drive, plug it in. If you have Mac, use a time machine. And maybe it's a little bit more technical, but it's worth learning how to do. Yeah. It's always good to have a backup. Learn about common scams. We spoke about a few of them today. We have many more on our website. You can do that. And the last thing that I think is such a minimal effort, and I don't know, like I think 3% of the people in the US do that, and I think 97% of the people know about it. It's like freezing your credit. Like you can actually, for free, freeze your credit. It's so simple. I can't even explain how simple it is. The hard part is setting up, like signing up to those 3 bureaus. You have to like create an account. That's the hard part. Put in your information. But once you do that, you click freeze, and that's it. And if you ever need it unfreeze, you click unfreeze. It's a button. Freeze, unfreeze, freeze, unfreeze. That's all it takes. And when you freeze it, nobody can, I wouldn't say nobody, but it makes it way, way harder for criminals to steal your identity. So
yeah, Gabrielle, we had a podcast episode with a gentleman from the FBI who said that a lot of folks don't think they can do this, but you can actually set up credit. You can call the bureaus and get credit scores on your kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and freezing those will disable bad actors from stealing your kid's identity, which is actually a very prolific cybercrime at the moment. So protect your kids' credit as well, and freeze it.
Yeah, because kids usually don't check their credits report, and they don't, and usually they have a clean credit, so you can build on top of that. So a lot of criminals actually prefer kids identities. It's actually more valuable than adults because it goes unnoticed. So again, it's worth it. You know, what can I say? You do it once and it's worth it. For adults, it's really easy to do. For kids, you actually should have to show some proof they're your kids, so it takes maybe a little bit longer, but yeah, they won't probably need to unfreeze it until they get older. So I think that's it, unless you have questions.
Does anybody online have any questions? I don't see any at the moment. I am curious for the audience that's on here today, you know, is this content on everyday topics something that you'd like to see more on in terms of child and family safety, being cyber safe? Is this something that you would like for Cowbell and Wizer to team up on and provide more of? Curious what you thought. If this was helpful today, let us know. We really appreciate, you know, we know that this is Q4 for a lot of folks. We're you know, rounding the corner into a new year here. There's a lot of end of year activity. We know that it's a very, very busy time. And so we're really grateful for you to take, you know, 45 minutes out of your day and join us for this. But we did feel that it's important to arm our audiences with the kinds of protection and knowledge that that we got here today. So great, a few votes there. I know it's a small audience right now, but it looks like there is desire for more content like that. So Gabi, next month, you and I, same place, same time. We'll let you know what the theme will be as January approaches. But yeah, just again, thank you so much for taking the time. Are there any final questions or comments before we go? Looks like not. So we will end it there. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Gabi, thank you so much. And we just hope everybody has a safe and restful holiday season, free of scam and theft and fraud. So don't let the Grinch steal your cheer, and we will see you here 1 month from today to discuss something else fun. Cheers, everyone. Happy holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.